Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's XAUUSD webinar, Forex Trading Webinar Series, and tonight's webinar is live Forex Market Review. So let's get straight into it. If everybody can read through the disclaimer, if you're on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but you can join us by following the link I've given you. For those in the webinar, questions to the chat box or the Q&A box, I've got both open. So we'll just take the time to read through the disclaimer before we move along. All right, we might move along now. If you don't know me, if you're new to the webinars, then my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm a Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at ACY Securities. And I've been trading the Forex market now for more than 15 years, mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me, my email is there, duncan.cooper@acy.com. As well, if you want to connect with me through the week, you can get me at the website, acy.com, go to the Market News tab, or our YouTube channel, ACY Securities Australia, and on my own Twitter and LinkedIn, I'm putting some content through there, some analysis on the weekends. And if you want to, if you want to link up with me, those are my handles there if you want to follow along. As well, through the week, we have our Telegram channel. If you want to get access to that, just contact nathan.bray. And if you want to get access to my chartouts and templates, just contact Nathan. He will organize all that for you. So his details are here in the chat. There we go. All right, so let's get into the webinar. So have a look at what the news is coming out for the rest of the week. If I can get my things to work. There we go. All right. So next bit of news coming out. These times are my time, Queensland time, 11:30 p.m. my time. We have the unemployment claims coming out. Now, the unemployment figures were rather worse last Friday just gone from the US. So, if these unemployment claims numbers creep up, that could be potentially negative for the US dollar. And then we've got Fed chair testifying in the morning, early morning, Friday. Tomorrow, 5 p.m., we've got the pound GDP figures coming out. The market will be looking at that for sure for the pound crosses. And then we've got US prelim consumer sentiment coming out 1 o'clock Saturday, my time. All right, so that's what's on the cards for the rest of the week. Next week, we do have the US CPI data and PPI data. So the market might get a little bit range bound. It may not want to commit too much either way at the moment as it waits for the inflation data to come out from the US, which is next, I believe. Let's have a quick look. Tuesday, Wednesday, I believe. So Tuesday, US CPI data. No forecast data in here at the moment. And then we have the PPI data on Wednesday. All right, let's get into the charts. And first up, we'll look at the dollar index, which it is, you can see yesterday it came up and held at this old top. So this old top that was starting to act as resistance for about support for about 4 or 5 weeks. At the moment, we're holding below it. So this area here. So it was kind of trapped between this level and that level at the top, 105.87 and 107.36. Now, it may be trapped between these two levels. So I'm not convinced that we're going to have a long-term decline on the US dollar. I think we're just having a little correction. Nothing can go up forever. We had the best part of more than 12 weeks up here. Everything needs a correction. Doesn't mean to say that we're getting a major trend change. And if you look at the monthly chart, we're just having just a month down, right? We may be positive by the end of the month. In fact, we may be above this high by the end of the week. All right, so seeing a little bit of a decline at the moment versus the US dollar. If we start to close above this level, 105.87, we're maybe coming back up to these highs. So we'll have to wait and see how the data brings. This may not do too much. The US dollar may not show too much gains or losses as we'll wait for the CPI data. And the S&P 500, is it going to form a double top up there? We haven't yet broken a low of a day yet this week to maybe confirm the reversal. All right. Lachlan is saying, will it need to fill the gap made on the DXY? Well, it doesn't have to, but generally gaps are filled. So potentially that's worth considering that, yes, price will maybe need to come up and fill that gap. Price usually fills the gaps, but nothing's 100%. All right, but potentially yes. So that would then, of course, mean that that's going to go up, and then, of course, pairs to the US dollar will go down. So yes, well spotted. So potentially yes. All right, so S&P 500. If we're going to form a double top up here, first confirmation of a start of a move down will be a break of a low. Haven't broken the low of a prior day yet, so we're just waiting for that. If that happens, are we going to be holding up here for the next decline on the weekly scale? Whilst this is the day chart, this is the weekly ranges that I'm looking at. Weekly move down, weekly move up, rally. Are we going to then have the next weekly move down? All right, so if we get a break of a low, that will start to confirm a double top potentially up there, or a triple top really. All right, let's get into euro dollar. All right, so I don't know if you're all confused about the trend. I'm a little bit confused about the long-term trend. Well, not the long-term trend, the short to medium, from this week to next week. The longer-term trend is down here on the weekly chart, and I've got a fib drawn from just a very minor high here where we had a week up and a week down in the same week. Well, we had a week up and then we were down in the next 4 or 5 weeks. So very minor high, but we did come up to 62% level of that range. So that could be where we're putting in a top for the next weekly leg down. And if you look left, there's some minor day chart highs and lows in here. But on the weekly scale, there is an area over here, 107.36. That's pretty much where we've topped out at, close to. All right, so we've got a couple of shadows or wicks down on these last 2 trading days, and we are getting support at a 106.74, and the trend on the day chart here is up. So are we putting in a higher bottom here? Market's probably waiting to see what the job figures does. The claim figures anyway, not the job figures, but the job claim figures coming out. Whether or not it's just holding above support at the moment before it starts to move down. Seeing that 62% level there from this weekly range here looks a little bit ominous. My dog can be quiet. And we had a nice little rejection candle there. And since we broke the rejection candle, all we've been managing to do is come back to the low of that candle, really. I just want to put that on my 15-minute chart to show you. So low of Monday was probably, this was the start of the new week there. It's probably there. I just want to get it from the day chart. Pretty much got it on there, I think. 107.156. So since we've broken that candle on Monday, we haven't traded above that low point, which to me is important because you can see where we got pinned today and yesterday at the level of that low candle. So 107.15 is where the sellers are sitting. It's just break of the low of Monday. Whilst we've been coming back up, looks like we're topping out up here. And there's almost a 62% retracement of that sell-off at the start of the week. almost, not quite. So, this is looking a little bit ominous. Like, if we start to get a 4-hour close below this high over here at 106.94, we're already below the 10700 level. You may well see that is probably going to be the area today to watch either for support or a break below. All right, so you can see here yesterday we broke below, became resistance to move down, and then we traded back above it. So today, what is it going to do down here? Do you see yourself to buy up off this level? It's also last month's high as well. Or are we going to break below this level? Looking a little bit ominous that we may well be breaking below this level, and you can be watching through the day for that to become resistance to trade down. This little imbalance that got formed here yesterday, this candle here, is all getting filled. All right, and there's a few more imbalances down in this area through here. So we could well be coming back down to test the lower level of support at 106.74. So looking at the euro dollar, I'd be watching to see, does 106.94 hold as support? Do you see yourself to buy? Or does 106.94 break and become resistance? All right, we're at the level today that's going to be the primary level, I think. Will it be support or will it break? I'm a little bit more on the side of, let's go back to the day chart. I'm a little bit more side on I know this day chart's up, but the weekly trend is down. And we're at the 62% level here, and we're holding at the low of Monday. Just putting all that information together in my head, we could be topping out up there. That could be where the next weekly lower top forms. We'll have to wait and see. All right, euro yen. Holding a nice uptrend. It's heading towards the monthly level of resistance to the monthly chart. It comes from over here. Very historical high point back in 97 that we false broke through this area. So trend is up for sure on the monthly and on the weekly. Just be aware of 106.242 as that key level of resistance. And really, at the moment, it's just holding a very strong trend up. If you want to trade this pair, I'd just be looking within the range of the day before. So does it just pull back within the range of the day before and up to today's high? That's the 4-hour swing range too. There is, if it pulls back, it's going to be pulling back to day resistance in line with the 62% level here at 160.89. That's the level to watch. The level I was highlighting on Tuesday, price never pulled back. So, which can happen when I'm highlighting an area, price doesn't always come back to an area I'm watching. So if I wanted to trade this pair at the moment, I would be waiting, trade with a trend, 160.89 is a 62 level, and 160.84 is the daily support level from this high here. If you go to the day chart, it's this area just here. That would be the optimal level to look for a pullback. All right. Yen keeps weakening. Dollar yen's been moving up. All right. And if the euro dollar decides that it wants to continue up, then of course that's going to just add more value to the euro yen price. Our euro pound. Now this is how I set it up on Tuesday. And I said this on Tuesday that often when I'm getting on the charts with you guys and girls, maybe price is not a level that interests me. And I'll tell you then what levels interest me. I said, man, I need to wait 24 hours for price to come to a level that I'm interested in. And you can see there, if you're monitoring this, it's coming to that 79% level here on the 4-hour chart. It is on the day chart, this range here, lower top, lower bottom. It says coming up maybe to put another lower top. So a nice 79% retracement pattern there. Just underneath monthly resistance. So if you go to your monthly chart, there's a monthly area just here. So what I'm doing here is combining a monthly level of resistance within a day chart, 79% fib retracement level. And I'm just looking at it on the 4-hour chart. All right, so that's the level, and I would anticipate now that we're probably topping here to trade down for the next leg down. All right, so you could look if you want to trade the euro pound 15-minute chart. It's a little bit overextended at the moment. You know, I would be looking at the range that's been forming today and looking for the opportunity to look at the 62 level or the 79% level for failure intraday. Nice 62 level at the central pivot point there. All right, so don't have a fear of missing out and sell at the bottom of the move at the moment. This is probably going to come up. There's a bit of an imbalance formed in through here. This will probably come back up to at least the 62 level. And then can you sell it down from that level? All right. All right, getting into the pound. Very similar commentary, I think, to the euro dollar. Weekly chart here is in a downtrend. Well, I should correct myself. It's actually popped into an uptrend. We have this top here. I was looking at this whole move down here. Pound dollar is actually a little bit different to the euro dollar because, well, that has turned out to an uptrend on the weekly at the moment. And the monthly is actually up too in that higher bottom, higher top. So potentially we've got a 79% retracement of the monthly range and this weekly trend's turned up. So potentially this is a lot more bullish than the euro dollar. All right. Hence why, you know, the euro pound is starting to trade down. Now, today chart, we haven't had more than a 50% pullback and we're back above this little area here. We just need to negotiate. The key level that's of concern for me to the upside is this weekly low over here, 123.08. If we close above that level today, we're probably trading up. All right. We could then, I think, trade up to obviously retest the high that we formed this week. But if we can't really negotiate this low over here, then we may be, even though the weekly trends turned up, this is the critical area. This is where it can get difficult with trends and support and resistance is strong levels of support or resistance will trump the trend that you're seeing. That's what, and you go, you know, I'm seeing an uptrend, so I'm buying, and then lo and behold, the thing's reversing, and you're going, what's going wrong? Is the key level to watch there is at 123.08. That's the thing that's going to dominate as to whether this can hold the trend and move on up. If it cannot close above that level with any conviction, or if you see it on a lower time frame rejecting, then there's a higher chance it's going to move down. All right, so we've actually been pulling back here on my 4-hour chart. Hasn't quite filled the complete imbalance. There's a daily high here that we're getting back above, but that's that weekly level there at 123.08. All right, so what you could look for if you want to trade the pound today is, can this pull back now to 123.88, which is a daily high that we're kind of moving above today, intraday? Does that become support to further trade up today? So if you could get a tight entry close to 122.88, then you can maybe get long to try and target a break above 123.08. But 123.08 is the area that's holding the market. I said that on Tuesday. I said over here, if we break below 123.08, watch it to become resistance. See how it broke below, became resistance here, came down, came back above and held here. So that would be the area that we'll be watching today for selling. If it came up and held here, that would be the area I'll be looking to sell at. All right. Because it's already proved to you the importance of the level on Monday. Now, if we just trade up and through there, then we're probably going higher. That's going to be the critical level. So that's the level to watch. Pound yen. Now, this is how I had it drawn in on Tuesday. It never really quite pulled back to my area of support in here. So that fib's no good anymore. It's not great at the moment. You know, there's always a good time to buy and there's always a good time to sell. And at the moment, it's not a great time to buy because you're trading right into this area of resistance here. I don't think it's a great time to sell because this is in a clear uptrend like the euro yen. So at the moment, you'd need to be looking for some form of pullback, and that may not happen today. We've already had a little bit of a pullback here, and now we're trading up. So in all probability, this pair is going to be trading up today to put its high in. So the 15-minute charts. At the moment, with the structure here on the 15-minute chart, you could be looking for 62% pullback. See these 50-minute structure highs here. Does it pull back into that area for support? Well, then I continue up. All right. Structurally, you know, everything's up. So you don't want to be buying at the top and you don't want to be buying at that day resistance level. All right. So just go to the monitor to see if you can see a pullback that you like. To the Aussie yen. Now I did say on Tuesday, watch this level to be resistance, 96.91. I said 97 level. If you go back to the recording on YouTube, if you want to know what I said. All right, now I would much prefer it to be at a higher level, but it's not getting up there. All right, and today it hasn't been able to get up to that high today. All right, so at the moment, it's a little bit choppy in here on the 4-hour. It would be not much nicer. It'd be much nicer if it just came up to the high level. Doesn't look like it wants to do it at the moment. And then on the 15-minute chart, so that's yesterday's trading. Just kind of holding it, you know, we've moved up to 62 here. Through the day, because we clearly dropped back below that weekly resistance level at 96.91. I think the area to watch, if it can be friendly for you, is up here at 96.91 to the 79% level of that range of yesterday. All right, if you can get up there, that would be a great level to watch today. Whether it can or not, I don't know. But there's a nice imbalance in here that happened yesterday. Bit of it's been filled to about there at the moment. And that will coincide with that area that I'm highlighting up there. So whether or not price can get up there today, but like I showed you on the euro pound, highlighting areas that I want to trade at. I don't know if price can get to the levels that I want to trade at. I'm trying to trade at the highest probability levels that offer me that potentially where the sellers are all going to be sitting today. Within, you know, yesterday we sold down. Can we trade back up inside the range of yesterday? Where would I potentially find the sellers? The most sellers today, it will be up here. All right, Aussie dollar. All right, it is on support. Is support going to hold? I've been discussing the range. You know, the range, let me just draw it in. Are we failing at the top of this range to trade back down to the bottom of this range? Now, within that, there is an uptrend here, and we could actually hold at this area of support. This is the critical level. If you've sold up here at the top of the range, this is the critical level that you need to break. Because if this does not break, then this will come up and your profit starts to erode. Now, it all depends probably what the market news is going to bring from the US tonight, whether we break below 64 or we're going to hold at 64 and move back up to 65. All right. Trend is up in the daily, but trend on the weekly chart is down, which sometimes is not easy. We know which is going to prevail. I'm more inclined for the range to, stay in hold, because the range is built around the high time frame structure. So I'm looking at the high time frame trend dominating the day chart, but the day chart could hold here and move up. So 4 hour, is in a downtrend. So, and notably, I think we talked about this very briefly yesterday, is last month's high is now capping the market. We moved above job figures on Friday, fell back below last month's high Monday into Tuesday. Yesterday, last month's high became resistance here. So if we are moving down, all that price may do is trade within this range on the 4 hour chart. You might see a little opportunity for price to come up to the 79% level. There's just a little bit of resistance here. So it could be a little mini left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So that may be a very nice area to watch intraday to trade down from, depending on what the US claims figures does. Of course, down here at the moment, it doesn't want to break seemingly 64. So depending on, can't go, you could be looking down here today. There's two sides of the market. If you want to be a seller up here at the 64.37, 79% area up there with a pivot. And if you want to be a buyer, I would say down at the 64 level to 63.93, which is day support. All right, those are the two areas. At the moment, it's looking more, without the news coming out, it's looking more like it's getting support down there at the 64 level. So pick the side that you think yourself is more dominant. And do you see a setup structure, forming around these levels? If you like a trend line break, we don't quite have one yet, but you may see one. So as I say, I'm more inclined to be a seller on the pair at the moment. After the interest rate decision, this pair just heavily sold off. So that, in my mind, is, even though the interest rate theoretically is bullish for the pair, it already got priced in up at 65. Once it came out, it was already priced in, and now we're selling. So that's why I'm more in line with the sellers. All right, getting to New Zealand yen. So these were my markings on Tuesday. This is the major area we're coming back into. And this is the range that I was discussing. Now, it did actually fail at my first level. I'll go to the 1 hour chart to have a look. I might actually go back to my 4 hour chart to have a look. First level was a 62% level in here. And the second level, I said, watch the 79% level. So we actually held at 62 and traded down. But then at the moment, we're obviously flying up. And seeing as we're past this little 79% level, then I think we should be watching the level of resistance from the day chart to see what it does up there. All right. Well, probably the way that's going at the moment is probably going to trade at 89.69. So just monitoring what does it do up at 89.69, this weekly monthly high over here. Now on the 4 hour, whilst this is in a 4 hour uptrend, this could just be coming up just to want to come up to the high area of this sell-off at the start of the week, to come up and fail up here to then come down. So I've been watching to see if 89.69 gets hit. And, what is this? There's an imbalance over here, right? Just there. Where are we at right now? At the top of the imbalance. And we're also testing last week's high. So this upward move at the start of the week was a false break of last week's high, fell down. It's back at last week's high. it's just, well, I say filling this imbalance. This move up here filled that imbalance there, but it's coming back to the same area. So when I said there's an imbalance there to fill, I was actually not thinking that we'd already filled it with this move here. So we have actually already filled that, but we're coming back to the same area. And we often come back to the same area where we initially had a drop. You know, over here, we had a drop, we came back up to the same area, we had a drop, come back to the same area, a little bit of a sell-off, we're coming back to the same area. All right. So are the sellers in the same area? So this is the area to watch for reversal. 89.69 and the 79% fib level at 89.57 there. All right, so on the 50-minute chart, you can watch up here for a reversal, watch your signal to sell. You could watch for, on the 4-hour chart, you could watch for a 4-hour candle to show a rejection up there and then trade the break of that candlestick low. Because this may just cruise straight through there if it wants to, but if you're sitting here, you know, it's quite a slow process. If you think about a 4-hour candle takes 4 hours to finish. At the moment, the current one's going to finish in 30 minutes. All right. And then the next one's going to finish at 12 o'clock my time. So this current candle is going to finish. Highly unlikely this candle is going to reject in the next half an hour. It could, but highly unlikely. So then we might need another 4-hour candle to come in before then we see a reversal. All right. So if you're wanting to wait for a 4-hour candle to tell the top story, you're probably going to need to wait another 4 hours to come around after this one finishes. Or at least wait for the job claims figures to come out, and what does the 4-hour candle start to look like? Does it start to reject? And then maybe you can see an entry on the 50-minute chart. So this is the area to watch. And this could get you a very tight entry for potentially, you know, are we failing at the 79% level up here for a long-term move down? Or a strong resistance up there. It's proved to you twice this weekly, monthly high over here. Once, twice it's heavily sold off. Held for the 3rd time. Is it going to hold now for the 4th time? 2nd time this week to turn around. All right, so you can monitor that. New Zealand dollar. Best time to trade this pair was up here, because at the moment now it's filled this imbalance and it's just kind of chopping sideways. You know, from a trading perspective, I would say, can it come back up to here for a sell? All right, the dominant trend at the moment is down. Really, this is double top trading down. This is then a corrective move back up here to 79% level. Are we then trading down long term? Now, if you're not already short, if this can come up back up to this area, this is the area you want to watch up here. You can see how many times it's been traded, and you know, price comes down, it comes back up, down, comes back up, tries to false break. This is the area up here where the sellers are. So will it be friendly? If you're not already short, will it be friendly and offer you an opportunity up there? That's what I'll be watching. And at the moment as well, if it doesn't come up, this could be putting in this pattern over the next month or month and a half, 2 months. All right, down this way. You know, we've moved down. So we've had this double top. We've had this move down. We've moved up. Are we now moving down this way? That's in terms of big swing movements, okay? Now, in the short term, though, it could, you know, do 2 things. Could stay range bound for a while. So think the opportunities lie, I mean, this could just come down to support here and hold because there's support through here and stay range bound for a while. Could just come down to there, hold, come back up to here, and then hold and come back down and form a range in here. All right. That's more than possible. But the longer, bigger picture trend is down. So in my mind, if it can come up to here, you're looking to short to try and trade down. And can we break down through support? That to me is the play. So for our chart, I would monitor that range. There's another 79% level there. So two areas. There's that area there. If you want to try and hope we can hit the 79% level of that bigger range, or you've got the smaller 79% level there. Might not be able to get up to that larger one. So that was the previous spot to watch. If you watch what price did here, it came up here and sat on there for a while. I'll just color it in. Sat on there for a while before breaking below. So it may well just come up to that level. That's kind of a little base that it formed before it dropped. And there's just a fraction of an imbalance in up there. So the price may well come up to fill that imbalance up there. And that's the area I'll be watching. All right, dollar Canadian. It's just holding that 62 level at the moment. I'll still be watching where I said on Tuesday up here. If there's a shorting opportunity on this pair, it's up here. That's the most favored spot. Because that's at your monthly high point up here, just short. All right. I really don't know if we're going long or short here long term, but what I know is the strongest level of support or resistance is this high point here. So if we go back up to that high point, that's the highest probability strong level to trade at. All right, so that's what I'll be watching for at the moment. If we close to, we're at the 62% level of this drop, then we're down to a lower bottom. If this was to close below this high over here today, then we're probably not getting up there. And then you should be looking for an opportunity on a lower time frame to get short this pair, I think. All right, at the moment, 137.85 intraday on my 50-minute chart is offering support. So if you want to just trade intraday, 137.85 is support to trade up at the moment. But the bigger picture, it's maybe a short from the top. All right, but you could be getting long here at 137.85, put your stop below that area, with the idea that maybe you think the long-term trend is going to break above here. All right, so there's two sides of the market here at the moment. Are we getting long to try and break above the high area that we're failing at, or is it just going to come up for a retest? So what is your approach and your strategy? Is your approach to trade at major levels for reversals trading down, or try and get on board with the most immediate intraday trend to move up for a possible break of that area? Okay. So you can clearly see here today, once we moved above here yesterday, dipped a little bit below, late New York, held, Asia held, into London held. So clear support's coming in here. All right, so that is telling us a little bit of US dollar strength. So with the other pairs, maybe the other pairs to the US dollar are going to be moving down. All right, so there's a bit of strength showing there. But we're looking at the lower, the 15-minute price structure there. Dollar franc, day chart. This looks like it's maybe getting support still here. It's not closing below. It traded below yesterday, traded below today, but clearly it's closing above the last 3 days. It's getting support at 62% level. I would anticipate this is going to come up this way towards the 127 extension. All right. Four hours very choppy. I mean, we can quite clearly see the area of support where we're chopping around here. And you can be just patient with this pair. If you want to trade this pair, this is where support is. This is where the buyers keep coming in and holding it up. So that would be the most preferable area to watch. If we, if price can revisit that area today, does it hold? That would be the area to watch to get yourself long. All right, down here. So I'm just going to leave it on my 4-hour chart, but the area is 89.73 is a 62% level, and the 4-hour support area, which is last week's low. So last week's low is offering the support at 89.65. So we just traded below last week's low just, folks broke. I've given you that lesson before in a webinar. We often get a strong reversal at last week's low or last week's high. So last week's low here is holding, false break, holding here. So if it came back down again, I would expect maybe last week's low is going to hold once more for a move up this week. All right, dollar yen, it is holding its uptrend, all right? So the 79% retracement of the day chart swing. It's getting above some day chart resistance here, closed above it yesterday. And in all probability, we're coming up to test last week's high at some point. You see, whilst we've been doing webinar, or certainly in the last 4 hours, this day chart high that we've closed above yesterday is support today. Yes, there's always that risk at the moment with this pair of intervention, but it is showing support. See, when we traded above there yesterday, became support. Traded a bit below yesterday, but today we're just holding now with the central pivot point. The news brings that back down there today. That's your area of support. All right. Dollar index, we covered that. S&P 500, we covered that. We'll just get into now gold. All right, I was looking for a rally on gold up there, but that never came. So we are seeing a sell-off on gold now. I can still hear people saying a couple of weeks ago it's going to 2,500. Doesn't look like it. I still think, to the monthly chart, this triple top area here, whilst this was very obviously bullish monthly candle, we could be putting in a lower top here to these 3 highs up here. All right, it does not like this weekly high here. And we're starting to test these 2 weekly tops here that maybe can't hold a support anymore. So this was a rush up here with the geopolitical environment. And we discussed this before about the 79% level up here that we got a fraction short. So look, if you look at these candles here, if I just draw in a box on top of the highest bodies up there where we were rejecting, okay, as an area. All right, you see where price stopped at? So I think that we could be putting in a long-term top up there. All right, so at the moment, pretty much already done the week's range. If you look at the size of this week's candle to the previous 2, it's done the range of the last 2 weeks. All right, so I don't know how much further we can go this week down before having some form of a bounce. Edwin, you say, but with the war going on, is gold not likely to keep pushing up? Wow. I think the war component's been priced in. All right. Same when we had to the weekly chart. This went up here when we had the war start in Ukraine. Where did price go after that? Down here. All right. So, that was a push up start of the Ukraine war. Down she went. The Israeli war, are we coming down here now? So I think it's all priced in now. I think people are taking their profits. Now, the day chart ranges, we've had slide view saying we're probably going in to get inside the descending channel, which started to form back in April. I'm not sure when that channel is. Well, I'm not quite sure where the channel is that you're talking about, or are you talking about you're talking about that channel? All right, I don't know if I can work that because we're out the channel at the moment. We could come back inside that channel, but I think that channel's dead. All right. Well, I can see where your channel is. I don't know if it's telling me anything. But anyway. All I can see on gold at the moment, because lots of people ask me questions. Do I think it's sell on gold? I'm seeing a downtrend forming on the day chart. All right. And so until this day chart turns to up, it's going down. Because quite clearly now we've had what I think is going to happen now. We've already done the range for the week. Is I think what's going to happen is those that want to trade gold need to look for a retracement now back up. So keep dragging the fib down if you keep moving down, but I think this will come back up. Like so. All right. Unless, we talked about gaps on the dollar index earlier in the night. There's a big gap down here that probably needs to be filled. And there's also an imbalance in here that probably needs to be filled too. All right. Now, this doesn't have to pull back, but if you want to, this is down now 1, 2, 3, 4 days. It's done the range for the week, pretty much. I will be waiting for a retracement. I won't be trying to sell at the bottom of the move at the moment because there's a higher chance it's going to have a pullback. So I'd start to watch for a pullback, and we could be coming down to fill those areas I've just highlighted on gold there at the moment. All right, so you want me to go through NAS 100 and pound? I've already covered the pound, but NAS 100. Well, there's still the question up here. I would say, are we forming a double top? Like this looks like very much like what we're seeing on the S&P 500. So if we break the low of yesterday, that's going to start to, in the very most immediate term, start to say to us, maybe we are forming a double top up here if we break the low of yesterday. And that level of resistance is this area over here from the weekly chart. So if we hold a little spinning top there yesterday, so if we break the low of yesterday, that's going to tell you that we're reversing from that spinning top yesterday. And then are we trading down? Okay, if we get a strong close above that 15,331 level, well, we're keeping moving up. And I'll just hop back to the pound for you. Pound at the moment, I was saying, whilst the day trend is up, showing high tops and bottoms, the critical level to watch is this weekly low over here, 123.08, because we're holding below that level. And I was saying on the 15-minute chart, this was Tuesday's trading. Once we broke below it, I said, watch it to become resistance. It was resistance here. And if we can't close above that level today, and in fact, whilst I've been doing the webinar, where's it traded at? It's hit the level and it's already reversing back below now, 123. So I said, not 30 minutes ago, watch 123.08 to be the resistance area. And it's proving to be the resistance area at the moment. All right. So unless we can get a strong close above 123.08, which it doesn't look like we can do at the moment, 123.08 is probably resistance for a move down. All right, and finally, you want me to look at pound CAD. All right, so it's just coming, obviously correcting back up inside this range at the moment from the big charts. And it's an uptrend on the day chart. This area up here could be where we're heading towards. Kind of the 171 area, approximately. With a caveat, we are trading above the 62% level at the moment, but we haven't closed above there in 4 days. See, it keeps rejecting up here, so quite clearly that 62% retracement level is being monitored. All right, so it's not in the best place. I don't know what you're doing on this. Are you long or you're short? At the moment, I don't think it's in an area where you want to get long because price is struggling at that 62 level. It's not showing you structure on the 4-hour chart that maybe it's turning around yet. But if I was going to do anything, if this was the only pair I can trade, I would probably just watch here to see what it wants to do around the 62 level. Does it show you a reversal? So I'm not sure what you're looking for. With the day chart clearly not wanting to close above there at the moment. If it closes above there, it's probably heading up towards 171.100. But seeing those rejections here, I'd be a little bit concerned that maybe it's starting to want to hold there. And then maybe you could watch the 4-hour chart for reversal. But I don't know what your position is or what you're trying to do there, but I don't like where it's sitting on the chart at the moment in terms of getting long. And Morris, let me read your big question. I'm still reading your question because it's quite large. All right, so you're watching for price suggestion. Yes, I'd be watching maybe for the 4-hour chart to turn around there at that level. All right, so in regard to the pivot point strategy, Morris, if you contact Nathan Bray, he should be able to give you some recordings on that. So I will put his contact details in the chat for you. I've already put them in there, but I'll put them in there again. All right, if you contact Nathan, he should be able to give you a recording and I might be able to give you a PDF. One moment. Here's a webinar PDF. It doesn't cover everything. It covers the part about the pivot points. It doesn't cover everything about the strategy though, in terms of trend lines and MACD and understanding of those components, but here's the PDF of the pivot points. All right, so contact Nathan, he'll be able to help you out with the recording. All right, hopefully that helps you. All right, any final questions before we wrap up today? Just let you know, next week from me, I'm actually having a week off at the end of the month, but till then, I've got a webinar coming up. Next webinar for me is next Tuesday, the 14th. And the 15th, I'm going to be going through the 50-minute fib trade entry technique. More analysis next Thursday for me. So my webinars are 8 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. And then I've got another week. Well, I should have another week on here. I don't go away until... All right, somebody needs to update this, but I've got another week. I go away. My last webinar this month is on the 23rd. And then I'm away a week and back on the 5th of December. All right, so next week, if you want to join me next week, just go over to the webinar page and register your interest for my webinars. There's some other people doing webinars too. If you want to hook into them, that's fine. I don't get jealous. All right, Slav, same to you. Have a great weekend. And there's a CPI next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we'll see where price is sitting ahead of Tuesday's CPI data. Okay, great. Thumbs up to you as well. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend, wherever you are, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, everybody. I'll just check my questions. I think I got all my questions done. Morris, to you as well. Have a great weekend too. Thanks for joining in with us. I look forward to seeing you next time. All right, thanks, everybody.